What is going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and as you can see by the volumes lined up in the back, I have got another volume review for The Promised Neverland. Now, I read 8, 9 and 10 just back to back recently, so I'm just going to do all three of these reviews now back to back as well. I just release them all at the same time, as I am kind of behind in terms of volume reviews for the series. So in volume 8, which is what I'll be doing first, obviously, I'm going to be talking about chapters 62 through 70, so beware of spoilers for that. So yeah, I'm kind of behind, so I'm just trying to catch up in terms of the volume reviews as the next volume comes out in a couple of weeks. So very much looking forward to that as that concludes this second arc of the series. So yeah, without further ado, I'll just get straight into this. I'll try to keep these between 5 and 10 minutes. I don't want to be blabbering on about stuff and repeating my points and stuff, so I'll try and just keep it short and sweet. And if you have any opinions about the volume and what you currently think of the recent arc, my main question probably for this arc is just whether you think it was better or worse than the first one, kind of which arc you preferred. I'd probably have to say that I preferred the first arc of the series, but this definitely keeps up the quality and it is really, really good. So that's not to say anything bad about the quality of this arc, because it is still really, really good. But the first arc was just immense. So yeah. So the main kind of point of this arc is to get to Goldie Pond, and that's obviously reached in this volume, which I think is quite quiet. I don't think they spent too much time on the journey in the outside world and that kind of continuation of Volume 7, bridging the gap between the first two arcs and looking for William and Nerva. There wasn't really too much emphasis on the journey to this location, because I don't think there was too much that needed to be said. I think the most of it is handled well in the first kind of third of this volume, where she talks a lot to the man just known as Giza, as we don't know his name. But you kind of just get to see his internal struggle and obviously what he's gone through. And that's kind of just what's explored early on in this volume. So I don't think that was handled terribly. I did enjoy kind of learning about the Giza, especially with its relevance later on in the arc and even in this volume itself. So it definitely, everything kind of comes full circle and everything has its relevancy in the arc, and everything does wrap up quite nicely, or seems to be wrapping up quite nicely by the end of volume 10, leading up to the final confrontation basically. So that was definitely done well. I did enjoy the first third of this volume, but the rest of it is where it really ramps up and you get into Goldie Pond and you kind of understand what it is, and that's where I think that this really shines in terms of this volume. So to kind of give a brief synopsis of what Goldie Pond is, it's owned by this guy here, and it's kind of like a farm or similar to, but what they do is they kind of play this song or this tune that lets the kids that are there know that they are coming to hunt them, and they basically just spend the whole time running around trying to hunt the kids in the time, I think it's one day that they have to look for the kids, and there's usually like 2 or 3 day gaps for the kids to like kind of prepare and find places to hide or whatever. So basically that's the general gist of it, and they basically just go and try to kill them and then obviously eat them afterwards. So I guess because he seems rich or wealthy, he kind of owns this place and gets kids sent from different farms. I can't remember the exact thing that happens, but I believe he gets kids sent from other farms, or kids that just run away and maybe looking for William and Nova as well, as you kind of see with other people later in the volume. But I just think it's kind of offers something different from the first arc. The first arc is them trying to escape, like what's tying them down and what's leading to eventual deaths. And this one is, I think it's just really different, but it keeps the same kind of tone, and it's still definitely the same series, but just the transition into this arc I thought was really nice, and the difference in this arc is really good. One thing that's definitely different is it's ramped up in terms of danger and the risk that they're in, because obviously in the first arc, although they were at risk from dying and being shipped out, they were in the safe haven of the house, so it's not as dangerous and as kind of lethal. But now that they're out in the wild basically, and they don't know what they're going to encounter, even in volume 6 and 7, which is kind of like the little bridge to this arc, you see them in loads of situations where they could be killed by things that they don't know about, and this is just kind of another one of those. And you can kind of tell that people are definitely going to die in this arc. So yeah, another thing that I kind of like, which is something I haven't really mentioned yet, is going back to the first third of the volume, is you kind of see Emma's classic shonen protagonist ways, as she wants to help and influence everyone that she comes across as she talks to the guy. So I kind of like that, and she's that classic shonen protagonist. And what I like is that she kind of bounces well off Ray, who definitely thinks things through more and has plans and ideas to get around stuff. But Emma's kind of just go in there head first and make sure that she saves everyone basically, whereas Ray's a bit more reserved about his ideas, and they balance well. But in this arc, Emma definitely gets her time to shine as she's separated from Ray. So I did really enjoy the characters. So I enjoyed our existing characters, and now I'm going to talk about, well, the final thing I want to talk about is the new characters that get introduced in this arc. All the kids that are, or have been at Goldie Pond for a long time, all coming from different main farms. I believe there's 4 or 5 main farms, and all the kids in this volume come from other ones other than Gracefield House. I'm just trying to find the page now where they're all introduced. I can't remember where it was. And obviously the other main character. Okay, so this is kind of all the new characters. And what I kind of like about this is, although not a lot of them have a lot of dialogue in this arc, they just all look really unique and different, and you can tell their personalities. And although I kind of believe that the artwork decreases a little bit from the first arc, not majorly, but definitely there's a decrease in art. Maybe it's just the pressure of having to write the weekly chapters and stuff. But I really do like the look of these characters. They're definitely unique and are drawn really, really well. And you can kind of just tell their personalities just by looking at them and how they are. But there are definitely character traits that you do see through the dialogue as well, which is nice. I do think they get a nice equal time chime, because there's not so many where it's overwhelming, but there is a nice amount to where like there's a lot of difference within them, and they offers off a lot of different kind of ideas and just fun traits about them. And I think the same goes for the villains as well. They're all very unique, and they're all very different. So I think everything in this arc is handled very well in terms of introducing new characters. I think they're characters that could be very long lasting in terms of the series, because I think they'd fit in well with the main cast. And I do think that, like I said, it's handled very well in terms of how Emma gets here. And as the fights begin in the next couple of volumes, it definitely ramps up. And the main character, I think, in this volume to be introduced is definitely Lucas, as that ties together the arc with the geezer, as them two came to Goldie Pond together. So again, like I said, everything kind of ties together well and ties up nicely, and this is a great beginning to the Goldie Pond arc. So that's kind of all I really want to say about it. In terms of my rating, I give this one a 3 out of 5. It doesn't do anything wrong, and it's really, really good. Although it doesn't offer us as much, I don't think, as volumes 9 and 10, where you really ramp up into the arc and narrow it down to the conclusion. So that's kind of where I really want to talk about stuff. But this is a nice opening to the arc, and just a fantastic volume altogether, like the rest of the series. So, yep. Other than that, nothing really much to say. I'm going to get on to the next volume review now. So, other than that, have a great day, and peace.